First at 5, we're following some breaking news out of Fulton County.
The jury is deliberating in the federal case of suspended Clayton County Sheriff Victor Hill. They've now been discussing this case for about 12 hours, and we're told there is a decision in for 2 of the charges. The jury's still stuck on the other 5.
Okay, 11 Alive's Doug Richards is live at the federal courthouse with more on that. Doug?
Yes, the jury of 7 women and 5 men have been deliberating for a while. They've come back saying that they've reached verdicts on some of the counts, but not all of them. They've indicated that there is a little bit of strife in the jury room as one juror is being somewhat uncooperative, the judge telling them to keep on talking in the case against Clayton County Sheriff of 14 years, Sheriff Victor Hill. Hill is charged with violating the constitutional rights of 7 inmates at his jail by ordering them to be strapped and handcuffed into restraint chairs for hours at a time with allegedly no legitimate provocation, sometimes resulting in injuries as the inmates struggled to sit that long while restrained, according to prosecutors. The victims testified against Hill. Hill testified in his own defense, saying that yeah, he did order them strapped into the restraint chairs. He didn't realize that he was injuring them by doing so. And he said he did so as part of his legitimate job, keeping order in the Clayton County Jail.
And Doug, you know, you have been talking about this since this case began. Prosecutors are arguing that the use of the chair was abusive to the inmates, violating their constitutional rights. Did they actually make their case? And why is it so difficult for the jurors?
Well, they did make a case. The victim, they made a pretty compelling case. The victims testified against him, but the challenge is getting these 12 jurors to make a verdict against a sitting law enforcement officer, which prosecutors tell us can be more challenging than against civilians. We actually talked with a former prosecutor about this today.
Extremely difficult to get a conviction when the defendant is a police officer or in law enforcement. People have a great deal of respect for law enforcement, and they tend to give them the benefit of a doubt. As a prosecutor, I've tried to get convictions multiple times on law enforcement officers, and even before you get to the conviction stage of a trial, it's difficult to even get an indictment in some cases.
Former District Attorney Robert James points out that it really only takes one determined juror to muck up the efforts of a 12-person jury trying to reach a unanimous verdict. There is certainly an indication there is at least a little of that going on in the deliberations in this Victor Hill trial. The jury just got dismissed for the night and will return tomorrow.